Hi everyone, it's Kristi. Welcome back. I'd like to do one more soft cover journal, but it's going to kind of tumble into October when we will be focusing on envelopes. I'd like to make some envelope journals, envelope inserts, and envelope ephemera using any kind of envelope, every kind of envelope, junk mail, whatever you have laying around, even making them with the envelope punch board. So we're going to mix it up a little bit, but this is one of my favorite kind of journals to make, is using an envelope, and it does lead to a soft cover. But the one we're going to do today is inspired by Kerr over at Happiness and Crafting, and I wanted to use this Paper Studio Country Roads that I got last month. I got this at Hobby Lobby when it was half price, and it just has beautiful papers in it. So I've chosen 3 of these papers, and I've cut them down to 8.5 by 11. And I'm going to be using an envelope that is just a regular manila envelope. Well, I say manila, but it's orange. It's like school bus orange. It is 9 by 12. I believe G uses a larger one in her tutorial, but I wanted to go ahead and use this one. So what we are going to do is, this will be the inside. Now, I couldn't find any envelopes that had the, that didn't have this piece, so I'm going to kind of ignore it for now and see if I need to take it out. I'm not sure at this point, but I guess it depends on if we put a pocket over here or what we do, but let's just, we'll do one thing at a time. So we're going to have our flap, open flap on the right, and we're going to go ahead and fold this, and I'm going to use my bone folder for this. Now these do slide. I'm going to turn it around. It's a little bit easier if I do it this way. There again, envelopes are not perfectly lined up. They're mass manufactured, so do the best you can. We're not going for perfection, we're going for fun. Okay, so now there's our flap. We folded this in half, and this is our cover. And I am going to make a note of that because for some reason the last couple weeks I am getting, this is the front cover and this is the back cover. Just so I'm not turning things upside down and gluing them on backwards. So I need to flip this over, and I think I want to use this one for the cover. Now, the main reason I chose this one, other than it's beautiful and I love the colors, is, do you see the orange kind of peeking through from the aged wood there? It may not be orange when you look at it, away from the envelope, but when you look at it with the envelope, it looks orange. So I want to use that one for my cover. I love this burlap one. I've used this before. I think it was in another collection. So I want to use that one inside, and then also the pink roses inside. So let's do the cover first. And I don't know if I said the name of this collection is Country Road. It has 20 different designs, 4 of each. So yeah, really cool. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and fold this one in half, and what that'll do is help me line everything up. I am not going to do any sewing in this journal. This will help us line up the center there, and yeah, I think that's going to be real pretty. So the back will have more flowers, but we're not going to put anything on the back. If we're going to put anything on the cover, we're going to put it on the front, focal point, maybe a journal plate, book plate. So yeah, that'll be perfect to have more on the back. So let's go ahead and glue that down. I'm using a Sweet Sugar Belt icing bottle with Beacon 3-in-1 inside. I find that if I keep the bottle full, I have less issues. I have not had any volcanic eruptions since I started using this bottle. Yeah, so I don't remember where I saw it. I want to say it was Andrea had one, Artymaze, and she was talking about it, but it might, you know, a lot of people are using them now, so it could have been somewhere else. So I'm just going to place that on there, center it top to bottom. It's about 1/4 of an inch, and then having folded that helps me line that up straight. It's a little bit more on the sides. It's a 1/2 inch on the ends. But don't worry about the color. We're going to be gessoing the cover, so that'll be nice. Okay, so that's basically step 1, is have your opening on the right, flip it over to the right, and glue your cover down. Okay, so step 2, we're going to flip it back over with the opening on the right, and we're going to go ahead and glue this piece down. If I glue that right to the edge, yeah, I think that's about right. I'm going to go ahead and fold this one to get my mark. Yeah, that goes right there to the edge. That is perfect. So let's glue that piece down. And you could use a circle punch and remove that piece of metal if you like. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm not going to be putting any kind of closure there. If you wanted to put a closure, then you'd want to go ahead and remove it. You don't want to accidentally punch through metal. So, there we go. Go ahead and glue this one down, using that center fold as a guide, and that's perfect. Comes right up to the edge of that pocket. So we could leave this pocket if we want, or we can glue it down at some point if we don't want it. Okay, so the next thing that we want to do is go ahead and fold it back this way, and we're going to trim the top and bottom. I'm just going to bring my cutter in, and we're just going to trim, not the side, we're trimming the top and bottom. Oh, see, I wrote my notes and then I covered them up, so that kind of didn't do any good, but hopefully you can see this. I'm just talking a smidge here, just enough to open it. So 1/16 of an inch maybe. Yeah, so just that much. And then that will open. That will open this for us, like so. Okay, so the next thing that we do, we're going to go ahead and glue down this flap. We're not going to put a pocket here this time, but you could leave that open and make a pocket. And there again, I may trim that off on that other side too and make it straight. But let's go ahead and glue this flap down. I'm making it up as I go, guys. I want to follow, you know, along the lines of what she did, because otherwise, if I try to wing it sometimes, you gotta at least follow the tutorial the first time. That's how I feel, because otherwise, you're making something different. You know, I can't always wing it, and then I'll be like, oh, that's why they did it that way. Okay, so if I follow it the first time, you know, then I'll know. Now there are these pieces that are lifting up here, and I want to go ahead and glue that down. Okay. I've got some ink or something on my fingers. Okay. So we have this big piece like this, and yeah, I think this is going to get trimmed down. But so we want this page to be a pocket. So we're going to go ahead and punch. I'm going to make a little mark here. This should be 6 inches. So at 3 inches, we want to make just a little notch. So I'm going to use my envelope punch board. And basically, if I line this seam up at 3 inches, I'm good. You don't have to use an envelope punch board. You can use a circle punch. You can use a lid. I think that's what G used. You could use, you know, your seam binding, anything. You can freehand it, whatever you want. But that will give you that little notch there, just so you can get things out of that pocket. The reason I like these notches is because when you tie the bow at the top of the tag, that notch kind of just seems to hold it perfectly, and I just like the way that turns out. Okay, so I'm not worried about what's showing behind here because I'm going to ink around this, but if you have a bigger notch and you don't want the envelope portion showing, you could put a piece of anything back there, just one of the cutoffs. We have these nice, since I'm using 12 by 12, I have 1 inch cutoff and what is this, like 3.5 inch cutoffs that, you know, you could just put a strip along there, and then that way that's not going to show. But because I'm going to ink it, I'm not real worried about that. So I am going to go ahead and glue this pocket down, and I'm going to glue along this edge. Let me show you that again. Okay, I'm going to glue here and along the bottom, just a thin line of glue. Okay, so I'm going to open that. Just a thin line of glue, and then we'll be able to put a good sized journaling card in there. That'll be fun. Okay. And you know, I'm going to go ahead, and I know you don't need it on this side because the fold is there, but I'm going to put a line of glue, and the reason is because then it'll be my tag will be centered because it'll be glue on both sides. Does that make sense? All right, so let's put that down. Just rub that down so that that pocket is sealed up here and here. And like I said, I just put that little bit of extra there on the side so that when my tag goes in, I know I have glue on both sides and it'll center it. Okay, so this is, you know, an extra page now. So what we're going to do, and the reason I haven't, you know, I'm not going to trim that down yet, is because we're going to put another piece of paper on and then we'll trim it. Okay, just make sure that's good and down. sure there's no glue oozing out anywhere. Okay, so now we're going to take this other piece and I'm going to make sure the writing is the right way up. Okay, fold this in half. And there again, we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to rub this down just a little bit more, because basically we opened that envelope and we're using this for another page. And then I am going to center this here. Should come right up to that edge like the last one did. Okay, so let's get that glued down. It's not quite a 1/4 of an inch anymore because we trimmed off the top and bottom. So just center it the best you can, like so. Now fold that. Okay, so G's envelope was straight. She didn't have this smile on here, so I'm just going to trim that off. And I think the safest way to do it is with my trimmer. So I'm going to fold this back and stick that in there. Let's do it this way. And I'm just going to come to the edge of the paper there. So it's a little bit of a, wow, I did pretty good. Only had that much. This one is going to be a little bit of a short page, but that's okay. So we've got our cover here, and we've got our first page. We've got a pocket here, and then we've got another page here. And you could put a pocket here if you wanted, but then we have our back cover. If you wanted to keep these together, you could do the same type of pocket on the side, but it's nice having the extra page there. That's kind of cool. So we are going to gesso this, and I'm not going to show you that whole thing, but I'll get you started, but I'm going to have to get my things together. Be right back. Okay, so I've got my gesso, and this is the kind I use. It's Basics acrylic gesso by Liquitex. If you don't have gesso, you could use acrylic paint, you could use chalk paint, or leave the gesso off altogether. The reason that we're using the gesso, and I'm just going to pour some out here, is because it'll tone this down. And basically I'm just going to tap my brush in there, brush it off, and then kind of dry brush. So I won't be able to do all of these with you because I'm going to have to let it dry. Now this does dry relatively quickly, but it just it does take ink really well as also, so excuse me. So that's good. I'm just going to go around that, and then I'm going to gesso on my paper as well. I know we're going to cover up stuff, but that will kind of bring it together, if you will, in my opinion. This orange is really, really strong, so you know, you may have to add more in certain areas if you want, but because I'm going to ink this after it dries, I think one coat is going to be sufficient here. But like I said, I'm just going to add a little bit here and there. It's already kind of, you know, shabby, I shouldn't have made such a mess right there on the edge, because I didn't have my thing over far enough. Let me wipe that up. This comes up really easy when it's wet. Not too bad when it's dry, but you know, it's like anything else. This is Dollar Tree hand wipes, and they're wet. Usually everything I get from there is bone dry. So let's do this side here. I ran out of words, guys. I love doing this. It's just so soothing. And not a lot of thought goes into it. It's just kind of random. Here we go. So I think you get the idea. We are going to decorate this tomorrow, and that will be it for the month of September. We will be going on to October. We're going to be doing everything you can think of with journals, with envelopes. If you see something that you want, that you think is really neat, and maybe I haven't seen it, let me know. Either in the comments here, or you can go to my Facebook group. I had a little questionnaire on my Facebook group about things you'd like to see in the way of envelopes. So it would be fun to hear from you. I do have a couple of things that I think will be fun that I've got planned. But tomorrow we will be back and we will decorate this one. I think we should be able to get it all finished. This isn't a huge journal. It's going to be a writing journal. There's not going to be a ton of stuff in it, but I am going to add some pockets and tucks and a few tags and a little journal in the middle. So we should be able to finish that up tomorrow. So thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.